What's going on, guys? Joe with Odyssey Off-Road coming at you with a Raptor 700 video here. So today we're just going to talk about, it's been 3 years since I bought this machine. I've put 110 hours approximately on the motor, and on the quad I should say, not just the motor. And I just want to talk about how it's held up, if anything's failed in that time, all the mods to date, any gripes I may have with it, and future plans. So let's get started. So I guess the first thing we should talk about is, let's go over all the modifications the quad has to this point, and we'll start with the first modifications I did, and then we'll go up to the most current modifications. So the first thing I did when I bought the quad 3 years ago, and I have videos for most of this stuff on my channel if you're interested in any more detail about these modifications that I've done. Most of them have their own dedicated videos. Just go back in the channel. What I'll do is I'll leave a link at the end of this video for the all the videos for the Raptor 700. So you guys can go through all those and see what you think, and look at the ones that you're interested in for the specific mods. So the first thing I did was add a skid plate, a case saver, Cuervo Racing drain plug reducer, and I did the Cuervo Racing air injection system delete. I'll show you those. So for the skid plate, I went with the Gland Innovations. It's a full thick poly skid plate. In my opinion, this and the DRW is the best skid plates on the market. They're very comparable. Just kind of pick your poison, whichever one you want. You can see how thick it is, and it's been on here for the full 3 years, and you'll see I've hit it on some things, and it's not even scratched. It just takes an absolute pounding. The air injection system delete is right there. That just basically reduces some of the deceleration pop on a stock machine, because they do run a little bit lean to begin with, and that basically is a smog thing that injects air into the head. Usually there's a tube that goes from there to a little pump from your air box, and it'll pull air and it'll pump it into the head just before the exhaust, and cause it to run a little bit lean, and you'll get a little deceleration pop on a new bike. It's not going to eliminate 100%, but it does help with a little bit of the lean condition from factory. So we did that. And then you're gonna have a hard time seeing it, but the drain plug reducer, you'll see, takes it from the big gigantic drain bolt to a reduced, I believe it's 13 millimeter, whatever the size is for the tank. It's the same bolt now, same size. So when you take it out, you don't have to, when you put it in, I should say, you can use a nice little 1/4 inch wrench and torque it down nice. Just make it snug. And a lot of times people have issues with those stripping out because the drain plugs that they put in there from the factory in the case are so big. Everybody uses a 1/2 inch ratchet or something, and you end up putting too much leverage and torque on them, and people strip them out. So you need to A, torque it correctly, or B, get that drain plug reducer kit and then just snug it up when you're done, when you change your oil, and you'll never have a problem. And I haven't. What we did after those things, we did the case saver. So case saver, I can't remember the brand off the top of my head, but I do have a video on it. It's right back here. It's a poly case saver. It's not a billet aluminum one. These are the best type to get, because if your chain comes undone, and it's going to absorb the impact of the chain whack in the case, rather those metal ones can actually also break along with still the case on your engine. It's not really doing as much as a poly one would. So DRW makes some nice ones. This is not a DRW case saver. I forget what brand it is. I got this one because you can utilize the cover, sprocket cover on top of it by just trimming the tabs off it. And again, I have a video on the channel about that. So that was the other thing we did. And you'll see the quad's a little dirty, guys. That is intentional. And you'll see it has the sand paddles on it. The last ride we did was at Glamis, and I left it a little dirty for all you guys who are always saying how clean the quad is and do I ever use it. So just wanted to show you. Yes, it gets used, and it is a little dirty right now. The only thing I did was wipe down the plastics just for the sake of the video, so I can show you how they're holding up long term. So after those things, we did a couple performance mods. We added the Yoshimura exhaust, full exhaust system, and we put a Power Commander 5 in it. So we got the full Yoshi there, Power Commander 5 under the seat. At that point, I kind of ran the quad stock for a while. Performance-wise, that was all I did until recently. Next round of mods we did were Nerf bars and a bumper. You'll see the Nerf bars are not on there right now. And that is because a lot of times I take the quad in the bed of my truck. Currently, I have a Jeep Gladiator Mojave, and I go to the dunes. I try to not tow a trailer. If I'm just taking the Raptor, I just pull it up in the back of the truck. And even in a full-size truck, with the Nerf bars on there, trying to carry firewood and all kinds of extra stuff, and just hard to fit that much stuff in the bed, gas cans and all that stuff, with a 6-foot bed or a 5.5-foot bed typically on most trucks. If you have an 8-foot bed, you won't have that problem. So I kind of popped them off for right now. And this way when I put it in the bed of my truck, I can fit more stuff in there. But I do have a set of Alba Nerf bars I ran, and I just took them off recently. They've held up good. They've been on there for almost a full 3 years. We added the Pro Armor Bully bumper. They don't make these anymore, but you can still find them on Amazon. Not Amazon, I'm sorry, eBay. If you look up Pro Armor Bully bumper on eBay for a Raptor, they're pretty much leftover stock, from what I understand, from when they used to make them. There's probably still some out there. Grab them while they're hot. So otherwise, I don't believe they make them anymore. Pro Armor's, all 100% into the side-by-side game at this point, especially since they're owned by Polaris. We had the Protaper handlebars. These are the Raptor bend, so they're very similar to the stock bend. I would say a tad bit lower. And we put the ODI grips on there. Those are my favorite grips. I run them on all the quads. Super soft. Take a lot of the vibrations out from your hands, and really makes for a good ride when you're riding out there all day. One of the first mods we did also was the Alba rear grab bar and the factory grab. That's one of the first things I would do also, and that is one of the first things I did. I think that was like the fourth thing I did, along with the Nerf bars, the case saver, and all that stuff. The stock grab bar is like as thin as your pinky, and it's made of very cheap quality metal. Twists super easy. So I got the Alba Racing one. It's good. There's other styles you can get out there. It's whatever your preference is for these. It would be nice. I was thinking about maybe trying a drop grab bar for just when you're kind of picking the back of the Raptor up and moving it. It might be easier to grab it from down low a little bit more. So maybe look into doing that. And as far as other modifications, we have a TM Design Works chain slider, and that was just part of maintenance. The factory one had eventually worn out, and I replaced it with the TM Design Works one. Very good quality stuff. And also we have a new full roller bearing chain roller. Unlike the stock one, has no bearing in it. That one's got a full roller bearing in there, so it rolls a little smoother and quieter. Coming up front, we have the Resto Quad headlights. These are the version 2s. I had the version 1 on there previous to these. Awesome lights. Flip the switch quick for you. I have them wired up with amber, and you'll see how the lights look. Terrific lights. Highly recommend them. Check them out, restoquad.com. Great customer service as well. And they make street legal kits. You can use those as turn signals. The DRLs work as turn signals when you get street legal kit wiring harness from them. I have the video I dropped right before this one was installing those version 2s. Had the version 1s on there previously. Held up great. Had them on the quad for over a year. So that's the headlights. And what we did most recently, I should mention the tires, I guess. I kind of forgot about them because the rears aren't on there right now. But I have GBC XC Masters in 22s in the front and 20s in the rear. Same as they come factory. On a 2020 Raptor, you'll get 22s in the front, 20s rear. The Rear knobbies are over here on the stock rims. I currently have the scat tracks on the back because, like I said, I was at the dunes, and the next ride for this quad probably will be at the dunes again, so I'm not taking them off, just leave them on there for now. As far as other modifications go, we most recently did an air intake, a full air intake, so we kind of completed the big three in that sense. And then we took it up to Dirt Fiend Racing in Phoenix, and Rudy over there did a fabulous job tuning the quad, getting it all dialed in, and I can tell you the power at this point, substantially better than stock. Super pleased with it. So as far as air intake goes, we did a Pro Design filter with a GYTR billet adapter. I did not go with the FCI intake. I know I can hear the keyboard warriors right now typing away, telling me why I should have, and that's fine. But I didn't, and I'm not. I'm not going to take the cover off, but you can see through it the Pro Design, big Pro Design foam filter in there. And then there's the billet adapter that comes through. Made a huge difference. Had to take it to get it dyno tuned after I did that. For airbox lid, what you'll see here, this is a ProTech airbox lid. Very cool. It comes with the outerwear in it, so the whole cover is outerwear, which is water resistant. It'll filter out all the big sand particles. So it's like running an open airbox, with no cover. But you're going to get a little bit of pre-filterization out of it for all the heavy particles. So you're not going to get a box full of sand when you're at the dunes, or mud or water or stuff like that. So it'll pre-filter all that stuff out and let your filter just do the job of, filtering out the fine dust and fine particles. And it'll extend your filter cleaning as well. So we did that. My only gripe with the ProTech cover is you'll see the bolts, the little screws that are in the middle that hold, it's kind of sandwiched. There's two pieces, and then the outerwear stuff is in between. So the way it comes is these screws are facing down. I just took them out and reversed them because I had the huge Pro Design filter in there, and with that Pro Design filter inside, it is very, very big, much bigger than a factory filter. And so the tips of the screws were just rubbing against the foam, and I didn't want it to cause any damage to the foam filter, so I flipped them around. On the back side is just a flush Allen head, which they have, when you buy the cover, they're facing up. I don't know why they did that. I guess for, cosmetic looks, but I'm not going for cosmetic looks. I'm going for function. So I don't want that stuff eating into the filter, so I just flipped the screws around. I also added a thin layer of felt around the outer edge of the cover, so when I sat it on there, it seals up the edges nice, and when it clips on, it's nice and firm and don't move. Very cool. Awesome cover. Just had to make a couple tweaks, but worth the money, I would say, for one of those rather than running an open air box, which I did for a couple rides, and the air box gets just loaded with dirt. It just makes it a hell of a time to clean. So that's pretty much it for modifications go. As far as things breaking, things failing, maintenance, stuff like that, I have about 110 hours on the quad. I haven't had any issues with it, knock on wood. And the key thing for me, I'll cheap out certain things, maybe, sometimes. But one thing I do not, and I don't recommend anybody do, cut corners, is maintenance. Maintenance is key to longevity, and I am overkill when it comes to maintenance. I only run foam air filters. I clean them regularly. I oil the hell out of them with spray oil. I don't dip it in the oil and then wring it out. I don't like doing it that way. I use the spray oil, spray it on there, let it soak in nice, work it in with a set of rubber gloves. Nicey nice, let it sit, and before installing, let it get all tacky and nice. Never have any issues, never get dirt passed through the air filter that way. Oil changes, I change the oil every 10 hours. I know you guys want to follow the owner's manual and do it every 40 hours. That's up to you. It's your motor, your quad, your money. Me, the lifeblood of the quad and the lifeblood of any motor is clean air and clean oil. Change your oil regularly with a good high quality synthetic. I use AMSOIL synthetic. To me, they're one of the best oils in the game, and they've been at it for a very, very long time. And keep your air filter clean. Clean air, clean oil. I change the spark plug once a year and check my chain tension regularly. I will tell you that this I recently did at 90 hours, new chain and sprockets, and the OEM chain and sprockets did last that long. They were still in pretty decent shape. The front one was a little worn down, and it had 90 hours on them, so I changed them. I put OEM sprockets and a new gold X-ring chain on there from Rocky Mountain ATV, and comparable with a DID as far as tensile strength. I forget what the brand, I think it's the Rocky Mountain in-house brand, but it's a gold X-ring chain. If you look at the tensile strength of those, it's actually the DID chain for this. The tensile strength on this chain was a little bit higher. So good chain, haven't had any issues. I was going to go with an OEM chain without the master link, but they didn't have any in stock at the time when I ordered them. So I went with that. I like going with OEM replacement parts if I can, if something fails and you need it. That's just what I like to do. As far as oil filters, I run an OEM filter or K&N oil filter. And that's it there. Again, every 10 hours on that. As far as other maintenance goes, the only other thing besides what I mentioned already was I did check the valves, the valve clearance, at about 70 hours, and they were still within spec. There was nothing wrong with them. So now that may not be the case for everybody, but it is the case for most people that I talk to that have Raptors. It's just they're built very well, the motors, and if you take care of your air filter and you run clean air through it, the valve should last a long time. If you're running dirty air through it, not only are you going to wear out your top end and your piston rings and your cylinder wall, but you're also going to eat up your valves from the dirt. So clean air is the key. Clean oil is the key. And I haven't had any breakdowns as far as that stuff goes. So quad's been great. Cosmetically, plastics have held up well. Obviously, I keep it in the garage. If you keep it outside and it's, with a tarp on it or something, obviously it's not going to look this good after 3 years, but mine's garage kept. The only, you'll see they're a little bit faded compared to stock just from getting blasted with sand. And I know they probably looks pretty good on camera here, but there's a little bit of imperfections. A few there. Just from this, getting hit with trail debris and rocks and kicking up from the tires and being at the dunes and, sand blasts the front. So you see the front gets a little bit dulled down from the sand and the dirt hitting it. And the factory headlights were pretty blasted and dulled down as well before I replaced them with the rest of the quad ones. And A-arms, all that stuff. Bushings, bearings, all stock. Nothing's been changed. Again, 110 hours on the quad. Dunes, desert trail riding. I don't jump it a ton. Small jumps. But so it's not taking a beating that way. Everything is tight as new. Not a single bit of wiggle. That's another thing, key part of maintenance. When I wash the quad, I don't power wash the joints and push water in there in the bushings. That's going to wear them out prematurely. I'll scrub them and rinse them off nice. And then every oil change, I grease all the bushings with a good quality grease. Oh, while we're down here, I forgot to mention. That's one, and I don't know how I forgot, but the biggest modification to the quad was this Precision Racing steering stabilizer. This is not the Pro one. It's the cheaper one. So I think they have two versions, the Elite and the Pro. This is the Elite, or the Standard, whatever they're calling it now, but it's the less expensive one. The only difference between the two, this and the more expensive one, is I think the capacity of fluid it holds inside there. This thing has been on the quad for 2 years. It is the best investment I've made. Everybody always asks me if I think it's worth it. They're so expensive. I don't want to spend the money if it's not worth it. And I did a video reviewing that as well on the channel. 100% worth it. I highly recommend it. So I'm glad I made that purchase. You can get that from Precision, or you can get it from PeteHager.com. Pete sells a lot of products on his website, and Precision Racing steering stabilizers is one of them, so you can get them right from him. That's where I got mine. And he'll get that drop shipped to you from Precision very fast. And that is pretty much it. I don't have a whole ton to say other than what we've already talked about, and really because, I mean, the quad's been great. Modifications that I've chosen, I'm pretty happy with. And the only thing I would say, if I had to do it again, not that the Yoshimura isn't an awesome exhaust, because it is super high quality. To touch on that quick, that was another thing I did at about 10, 12 hours ago. So maybe the pipe had probably 80 to 90 hours on it. And I said to myself, it's got to need a repacking at this point. So I ordered a repacking kit from Yoshimura. Comes with new bands, new rivets, and all the packing. It's a hell of a job. And when I got all the old packing out, I realized I didn't even need to repack it. That's how good a quality of the pipe is. So it didn't need a repacking. But I did it anyway, so that thing's good forever at this point. But if I had to do it again, the Yoshis don't make the most horsepower. So I may do this in the future. If I got some extra money burning a hole in my pocket, which I don't right now, and I have other things I want to invest in, other machines and stuff, and mods I want to do. So is maybe try a different pipe. When I had it on the dyno, they did say that if I was running a different pipe, I probably would have seen another 1.5 to 2 horsepower on the dyno. But I'm very happy with what it is. It's not as loud as some other pipes. You can make it even quieter if you put the spark arrestor inside, which kind of reduces the opening and quiets it down as well. You are going to lose some power too, but if you're riding in a very noise sensitive area, it's a good pipe option because you can do that. So I'm happy with it in that regard and the quality of it, but it doesn't make the most horsepower. So if that's what you're looking for, Monster, Empire are probably the best pipes for you. Rossier is a good pipe too, and I think RP Racing is another good pipe for the Raptor. But I believe Monster makes the most horsepower on a Raptor 700, based on some experts I have talked to. So that's pretty much it. As far as future mods go, I would say at this point we're going to run it the way it is. I've only had it out once with the air intake and the dyno tune done to it, the custom dyno tune, and I'm loving the way it runs. So I'll probably run it like this for a while, and once we do decide to make some more changes to the quad, it will most likely be in the form of the suspension. So now that I got the power and it running the way I want, I think suspension is really going to be, and that's probably the reverse order of what you should do. These things have plenty of power stock. Better suspension is going to enable you to ride faster than a more powerful motor. So if we do that direction to go to suspension, probably do some Hauser A-arms, +2s, widen the rear axle or get a wider axle. You can also do the YFZ 450 hubs, which are 3/4 of an inch wider on each side for the back, and run your stock axle. That's an option as well. And either send these shocks out and have them revalved, or order some custom tuned Elka shocks, Elka Legacies maybe, or something like that. I'm thinking probably just send these shocks to Joe Kaga up in Phoenix or Rocket Ron Racing, have them revalve and respring them for me, and with the Hauser arms. I think that'd probably be a good setup. I'm very happy with the way it is now. If I had to say how the stock suspension is out of the box, I would say your rear shock is probably tuned better than the front shocks are on these. I have yet to have to really work on fine-tuning the rear shock. I think I have it just the rebound turned down a little bit slower than standard, just a couple clicks slower on the rebound, and it handles great. Doesn't bottom out. It's not jarring. The front shocks can be very soft and bottom out easy if you jump it hard or hit big, deep whoops. So you'll have to stiffen it up, the high speed up in that regard, and then it affects the ride quality a little bit. I run it, if you have the stock front shocks at the owner's manual's recommended settings, so the factory settings, I have both the slow speed and the high speed compression turned up about a quarter turn, and that's how I run it. And it's the happy medium. It's the best it's going to get with the factory shocks, or else if you go any more than that, it's going to be a little too harsh, and anything less, it tends to be a little bit too soft and rolly in the turns. But this way I have it now, it works well for me until we upgrade the suspension. That's pretty much all I got to say. The Raptor's been mint. I mean, I absolutely love it. If you guys have frequented my channel, and you know that I've gone through everything else that I've owned. It's been a revolving door. It's come and it's gone, and it's come again in some cases. But the Raptor's been the mainstay, and I just love this quad. It's not going anywhere. Guaranteed that this is the one machine, unless something catastrophic in my life happens and I got to sell everything. This thing's not going anywhere. Even if I don't use it regularly, I own it free and clear. I've had it for 3 years. I love it. I have a ton of fun with it. It's my first sport quad I owned again in a lot of years, being away from the sport. I wanted to get back into it when I bought this, and so I'm planning on getting rid of it. It's not going anywhere. Nobody makes anything else in sport quad realm anyway, other than a YFC 450 from Yamaha. But yeah, this is a great machine. It's a do-it-all machine, the Raptor 700. I highly recommend you buy one if you're on the fence. If you've never ridden a sport quad at all, power can be a little intimidating, but they are very forgiving and easy to learn on because the power is so strong. You just got to be careful. Just don't be smashing your thumb deep into the throttle if you're new, because it'll hurt you if you're not ready for it and you've never ridden one before, or if you've never ridden a sport quad before, I should say. It's got to respect the power. That's all. It's got a ton of torque, and it'll stand up on command sometimes. Sometimes not on command even. It'll just stand up. So you got to really be conscious of that. And yeah, so that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed. Just wanted to kind of do a little quick summary and a 3-year ownership review of the machine. Again, it's been fantastic. I thank Yamaha for continuing to make these. 2 thumbs up to you guys for keeping sport quads alive. And if you're out there and you're thinking about buying a sport quad, there's a lot of used stuff on the market. Hondas, used Suzuki, used Kawasaki, and that's all great. My personal opinion, and maybe I'm biased because I have a Yamaha, but Yamaha is the only manufacturer actually producing these still new. I say support the company that's still supporting us and still supporting the sport. Go to a Yamaha dealer, spend the extra money, buy one, maintain it from the day you buy it, take good care of it, it'll last you forever. And you're supporting the company that's still producing these things and will enable them to continue producing them long into the future, hopefully. And that's kind of my take on it. If you want another sport quad, another brand, that's fine too. Have it as a second one. Get one as a project and restore it. I may do that down the road. I would love to have some other brands and just get one and restore it, bring it back to life a little bit. But I recommend go buy a Yamaha because they still make them. And let's support the company that's still supporting the sport. So 2 thumbs up to Yamaha. Thumbs up from you guys, I hope, at the end of this video. Click the thumbs up button if you liked it. A lot more content coming. We got some content coming on the Jeep Gladiator again. We just dropped a video a few days ago on the headlights. We got a ton of stuff coming up. Got a quick video on the Scrambler. We got the Renegade 1000, Raptor 350. Got right now Polaris Outlaw 110, but that's for sale. That's going. We got something new coming for the little guy. He's moving up in the world, so that'll be a big reveal on the channel here, hopefully within the next month or so. So stay tuned for that. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, guys. I don't know what you're waiting for. I'm giving away free subscriptions today, so just click the subscribe button. Don't cost you anything. This is Joe with Odyssey Off-Road. Thanks for tuning into the video. We'll catch you guys on the next one.